All right, my Pomera DM250 text writer or writer deck has arrived today, and I'm very excited. Um, I've been after a standalone writing device for forever. Always like the Scions. I've tried to make my own, but this video is going to be a review, and I'm going to focus on three key areas. Use cases. I have six where I write as a professional writer, creative writer. The keyboard and whether it achieves a kind of sense of being a creative oasis, if you know what I mean. That's some of that will be about distraction-free writing, but other aspects of it as well, including the file system and how quick it is and things of that nature. My writing spaces include the dining room table, which is a laptop, quiet libraries, again a laptop is great, not so much mechanical keyboards, coffee shops, where I'm hoping the smaller footprint of the Pomera will be to its benefit. I like bars, but I think laptops and bars are a bit off, so is this a bit more discreet, or am I better off with an iPad? At the end of the day, I like to relax on the sofa. Does it rest on your legs nicely for a late night writing session? Finally, travel. My iPad is indispensable when I go from New York to the UK. Do I want to take another device? Not really, so it'd have to be very strong indeed for me to take this along. But I could see it coming along with me on a kind of beach holiday, and you just want to sit at the cafe and tap away on a device that has nothing to do with work and email. Okay, so let's have a look at the device itself. It's smaller than I first supposed from watching the videos. I love the look, just svelte, very discreet, pretty stealth, very nice. No logo on the front, no glowing light logo on the front, no cursive script or any kind of look at me design language. And as a result, it's actually very cool. It's just a writing tool for Japanese business people predominantly. That's who it's marketed towards by the company Keychron, who are a stationery company. So it's coming from that direction. It's not meant to be a flash consumer device. The keyboard feels pretty good. It is smaller than the MacBook Air. We'll get right into the keyboard properly soon, but it feels okay. It doesn't feel disastrous. The screen is nice. The hinge is strong, and you can angle it as you would wish. It really is a nice looking thing. Unobtrusive. No branding all over it, just a Pomera logo there below the screen in a kind of light grey, and that's it. The user interface is very bare bones. You can't see it very well on this camera, but it is simple and it is sharp and it is fast, which is great. I really like it. There's no lag or glitches or anything like that. It's as smooth as butter. It is a color screen, but it's basically monochrome. There might be a hint of blue in this menu drop down. It's really hard to tell. It's kind of a grey blue. Very understated, really like it. I'm changing the language to English and the US keyboard. Now, very importantly, you must also press the Alt button and the key that is to the right of the escape key. Super important. This toggles some kind of input device whereby if you knock it, all of a sudden your sentences are gibberish with bits of Asian characters in there, numbers, all sorts. It's a complete nightmare, and it's not that clear that that's what you have to do. So Alt and the button to the right of the escape key. Here's my usual setup, and with the Pomera you get quite a lot more space, but it also frees up more of the space around you without having a huge screen in front of you. The keys give an uninspiring plastic thud, but it's very quiet. And I was in the zone very quickly because when you open this thing up, all you can do is write. So that is fantastic, and I got on with some work, and it was a good session. The coffee shop was packed when I got there, so I had no choice but to sit at this kind of very narrow window seat. So it was a great test for the Pomera. Yep, a significant amount of space there for you, and it's important in this instance because I can rest my full arms on the table and type really comfortably. So this was actually a really good plus point for the Pomera. And once again, like in the library earlier, just straight into it, just writing, sipping my coffee, getting words down. So very happy with this use case. Another cafe egg and cheese sandwich. greasy fingers. The keyboard's fine. The case does attract marks, but it comes across like a kind of scuff mark as opposed to like actual fingerprints over it. And I think it looks quite good. I have no problem with it. And I'm normally polishing things like screens and cases and so on. I'm quite particular about it, but it actually looks good on the kind of matte dark grey surface of this device. So it might not bother you. Or if it does, you just have to give it a wipe. At the bar, it works very nicely. It's not a notepad and pen, which is the optimal devices for writing in a pub, of course, but it's still very low key, and I really like that about it. And you can just work a little bit. It's not too showy. It's not a massive bright screen. So it is, once again, that word discreet. And you can close the lid when you're just thinking about stuff or not actively writing, and then open it up, and it opens so quickly straight into your document, way faster than a laptop. That it's kind of, that's a nice value add, as I believe they have it. It's a great device to have in a social space. It's not too obnoxious, and you can get a little bit of writing done. And if it gets busy, you just fold it up and put it in your bag. And unlike a $2,000 laptop, if you do something stupid with the bag, like leave it, or it gets lifted or something like that, then yeah, you know, you've been hit by a few $100s, but you'll survive, and you don't have your entire life on the thing either. So there you go. It's a good device for bars. So that's a nice tick for me. It's basically fitting into all of the places I write so far. We're going to look at sofa writing next. It's the fifth use case for me. Sitting on the sofa at the end of the day, I might have some thoughts. I might want to write a few paragraphs down. It isn't like a big, deep session, but sometimes it can tip into that. So I like to be comfortable when I'm writing on the sofa. I often use a pen and pad again here. The laptop's great because of the larger footprint of the device, allows it to sit on your lap at any angle, and kind of the front of it rests against your stomach, so it doesn't wobble about, and it's really comfortable. And I like to put my feet up on the coffee table. I like to cross my legs when I'm writing sometimes. But with the Pomera DM250, it's a little more tricky because of its smaller footprint. So it's a bit wobbly. You can hold it with your thumbs and type, and that's okay. It works, but it isn't that pleasurable, and you'd rather write on your own laptop or just with a pen and paper, to be quite honest. So it isn't bad. It would work at a pinch. It does work well when you're seated. So if your feet are on the ground and it's on your actual lap, it's perfectly good for that. That's fine. So buses, trains, waiting rooms, sitting on a chair somewhere, you know, it does work well in that position. But if you want to kind of move around a bit, it doesn't have that stability that a laptop has. So it doesn't, it's not the best in this situation. Workable, but not great. All right, so we're going to talk about the keyboard now. So this is a deal breaker for me in some ways. I'm not expecting miracles. I've read mixed reviews from wonderful through to oh, no thanks. So we'll see. That's the problem with buying things online. You can't try them out really before you buy them. So I'm going to show you all my keyboards and how I rate them and what I like about them. So when I talk about the Pomera, you will know where I'm coming from and whether you align with those thoughts. Just to note, I have made my own kind of writer deck using Waveshare, screens, Raspberry Pis, battery packs, and the Planck. It all worked okay. It was a little clunky with the interface, but it wasn't bad. I can't make cases though. I can't do 3D printing. I don't know how to use wood. So I ended up making out of Lego, which is patently ridiculous. It's so heavy. It stank of glue, but it was really good fun during lockdown. So that's where I'm coming from here with writer-only devices. Now back to the keyboard review. So let's talk about just very quickly, just its footprint. It's a great size. You know, it's no bigger than a keyboard. That's the Apple Magic keyboard there. I mean, there's not anything in it. You know, there's a little bit, you know, less than a key's worth, and a tad thicker, but it's very svelte and unobtrusive. It looks really, really good. So which keyboards do I use where and when? I have used an iPad for a very long time. I've used it almost exclusively for a decade at one point. So I'm very happy with how how the keyboard operates on this. And if you have a look at, I'm doing this one-handed, forgive me. If you look at the Pomera keyboard, it's got a nice stiff hinge, by the way. Very, very good, feels solid. The keyboard on the Pomera, you know, you can see, hopefully you can see that the keys are obviously smaller and more crushed together than the almost 40% layout of the soft keyboard on the iPad, the 9 inch iPad. So you can sort of see that. Let's have a look at so that's what I use when I'm traveling. So that's the big use for me. And also bars or anywhere where it's a bit social and I don't want to lug a laptop around. This has been indispensable. MacBook Air M1, and let's see how it compares with the keys here. Excuse how grubby everything is. Well, first of all, let's just get a quick size thing. So you can see it's really quite small. It's much smaller than I thought it was going to be, if I'm honest. And I do like the form factor. It's so discreet. But the keyboard's a little smaller than I would really ideally like. So we'll see how we work on it. I've been typing and it's definitely going to be a bit of a learning curve. You can see, you know, the size of the keys are just that bit bigger. And there seems to be more space, of course. So look, there's not much in it really, but it does add up, it seems. So I will get used to it. So that's the size with the laptop. Now let's have a look at some other keyboards here. Let's start with, this is the Planck 40%, which I've been cannibalizing with a Vortex 40. So this is a 40% keyboard. Obviously it's got much more chonk, and that's what you like about mechanical keyboards. Much thicker. But in terms of size, we're not, you know, it's not terribly bigger. You know, maybe key and a half there. So that's the 40% keyboard. I love the feel of these. I cannot get fluent with them, and this is why I mentioned my usage with these keyboards, so you can sort of follow along with it. But yeah, I love the feel of it. I can't get fluent with the Orno linear keyboards. So, but I do love them, and I keep coming back to them. They're very desirable things. The keyboard on the MacBook is absolutely fine for me. Really like it. Work all day long on it. Quite nice. It's not an unbridled joy, but it gets out the way, and I do like it. I've got this OG battery operated Magic Keyboard, Apple Keyboard, whatever it was called at the time. Lots of squishy travel there. Quite big and chunky actually. It's nice. I do like it. It's not bad at all. This is the one that I use now because it's so svelte. It's really beautiful design. It's very light and it's tiny. So this is clean and clinical, professional, neat. It's a bit boring, you know, it's not much fun to type on really, but it gets the job done. It's very efficient, and this is what it looks like alongside our friend here. So you can see again, there's not a huge amount in it. There's a key's worth or so, and on the back there's, you know, it's a couple of millimeters. So nothing to really worry about there. But again, if you look at the size of the keys, and I hope this isn't too much boring detail, but if you write for a living or for pleasure, then these things are important. You can see the Apple keys are just, you know, not twice as big, but a good bit bigger. And that makes a lot of difference. I do think I will get used to this one though, because it's so nice when it's folded. It's so portable. The keys feel okay. It's quite hard plastic. There's a bit of spring and travel, so it isn't a disaster, which is good. I'm not typing fluently yet, but I've had it for 10 minutes, so we'll see over the week. And as I say, when it's closed, it's such a nice device. No big glowing multinational logo on the front there. It's really discreet, stealth, normcore, kind of Japanese business tool, and for that I like it. It is a fingerprint magnet, but it's not disastrous. You just wipe them off. It's not too bad. So yeah, I've put a screen protector on it. It looks awful. I'm going to redo that. And I'm going to play around with this now and have some fun and hopefully get some writing down if I'm lucky. The Keychron K9 Pro is the gold standard as far as I'm concerned. It's absolutely beautiful. 60% keyboard, so no cursor keys, you have to toggle for them, and no F row, you have to toggle for them too. But it's beautiful, MX cherry red switches, so beautiful feel for me, and the keys are low profile, which is nice and slim. iOS and Windows, cable or Bluetooth. Really quite heavy though, but that makes it a nice solid typing feel, and it feels beautiful to type on. So this is the best for me. Actually, this would be the best for me. Come on, Pomera, do it. You could take my money right now. This would be perfect. Back to reality. Okay, so I've been messing around with this for about 4 hours, 5 hours now, doing quite a lot of work on it, quite a lot of typing, writing this review on it as well. And I have to say, I've really warmed to the keyboard. I'm really pleased to say that. I've got quite used to it. I'm making fewer and fewer errors, and it's not bad to type on at all. It's quite pleasant. In fact, it's precise, it's quick. The cursor keys allow you to get around the document really well, very fast, very clean. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. So I'm very pleased to report that the keyboard is fit for purpose. So I'm starting to enjoy the keyboard, which is great news. It just had to get out of the way and do its job, and it's doing that. It is a cheap keyboard though, there's no denying it. The plastic thunks when you press down. There is enough give to be okay, but you can see the legends are kind of heat stamped on there, which surely will come off at some point. But there was a bit of a disaster. This is the third time this has happened now. So I pull it out of my backpack, and the semicolon key has come loose once again, and as you can see, it is very, very thin and delicate. It's snapped back in easily enough and feels secure enough, but it's not a great sign, is it? So I had to point that out. But again, the keyboard is fit for purpose. I am enjoying it. It's not as nice as my other keyboards, but also it's not the worst thing I've ever typed on. So it's working. I am creating documents. To summarize, I'm really happy with this device. It's svelte, it's mobile, it's distraction free from outside to within, it's simple to use. I've managed to get in the zone every time I've opened this thing up, and that has been the main purpose of buying a distraction free text only writing device like this. It has enough editing capabilities to keep me happy. I like to draft, but I also like to change my mind and change sentences, and this allows you to do that very simply, very easily. There's nothing to futz with. Once you've got it up and running, then once you've opened it, then you're writing or you're not. So it's really great for that, and I've appreciated that very much. It's a joy to use. Yes, the keyboard, if they put 20% more effort into the quality and the build and the feel of the keyboard, it would be a dream machine. It really would. It would be a 9 out of 10 for me easily then. But as it stands, the keyboard is functional, it's efficient, it's quick, it's fine. It just, if it was a little bigger, that would suit my massive hands, but otherwise it's fine. And I do have big hands, so if your hands are a bit smaller, I'm sure this thing would be really, really nice. So give it a whirl if you're looking for a distraction-free text writing tool. This one was $380, and I think it is worth it. I use it for work, so you know, once I get a few jobs in, then it pays for itself, kind of thing. So $380. I'll put a link to the site I got it from. Wafu is the name of them. It's not an affiliate link at all, so it's just where I got it from. It was a fair price, and it arrived as promised, and all was well. So I would recommend them. It's all over eBay, and there's other places that are marking it up like to massive amounts. I think I saw it for $500, and that's just crazy. So look around, you know, be smart, but I'll put a link there, and I had a good experience with them anyway. So enjoy your device if you get it, and good luck on your writing and creative journeys.